Alright guys, check this out. We're going to try this little video thing, but here's the deal. If when you're watching the video, you got to take notes, okay? If it's a video like this one that's going to be instructional, I would suggest that you watch the entire video through, taking notes as fast as you can, but not worrying about writing out problems or steps, just ideas. And then, when the video's over, start it over again, and that time, whenever there's an example, pause it, try it on your own, and then play the video when everybody's done, and write out the steps, and pause it and talk together for just a moment or two, and then work your way through the entire video that way, okay? Here's the big one, especially for this class. There's a lot of kids in here. If people are off task, this will not work, okay? And even though I'm not going to be here, you will fail if this doesn't work. The only reason this won't work is if people are off task during the videos, okay? When the video's starting, you've got to stop looking at your hair for split ends. You can't be on your phone, can't be turned around talking to anybody, Jalen, or anything like that, okay? We cannot have people off task because then they're going to want to pause the video because they weren't paying attention. They were wasting their time. And if we pause the video for those people, then everybody else is wasting their time while the one person that was wasting their time is trying to get caught up. So the videos are going to be really short. They're going to be to the point, so you're going to have to really concentrate during those videos. Okay? After you're done with the videos and I tell you what the problems in the book are going to be, you're going to read through the book. You're going to take notes as you read. And then you're going to try the practice problems that are in that section in your notes again. That's going to be kind of like the equivalent of being in class, right? When I tell you and you take notes as I tell you and I try stuff with you and you try them on your own. That's what those examples in the book are going to be doing for you. And then when all that's done, then you can begin your homework. But look, don't be lazy with your homework. Do it right just like I show you in the video, okay? Work until class is over. And when class is over, put everything away really, really neatly, okay? So I don't want you to get it now, but these books here are the ones we're going to use for today. The big red books, they're on the green and blue milk crates on the side of the wall on the east side of the room. They're all placed in those milk crates nice and neat, and when we're done with class, they have to go back nice and neat. Okay? Very important. This is also the same book that you have access to on, through the internet. Okay? And everybody should have that information. The pages we're going to be using, and you're not going to get it now, are pages 84 through 87. And you're going to take notes and try the examples in a little bit. And your homework's going to be on pages 87 through 88. It's going to be 1 through 14. And I'm going to show you how to do all of those 14 problems. So I really want you to pay attention on how to do this, okay? All right. So let's begin. What this topic is what we're doing is we're solving equations, okay? We're solving equations. Now, like I told you yesterday, a solution is a value that makes a statement true. So like 3x plus or minus 5, equals 22. That would be x equals 9 is a solution if I can plug that in. And it equals 22. So this is 27 minus 5. That does equal 22. So that's how I know I'm right. That's how I know that this is a solution. What we're going to be working on today is how to find this solution. Now, a lot of you guys already have a pretty good idea how that works. And those of you who don't will get you caught up. The thing I want you to tell you, though, is that when you see something like this, think about it for a minute. Think, what could it be, and see if you can figure it out before you even do the steps. That thinking, instead of just doing, is a very important skill. All right. So now, let me show you how it works, okay? So when you're solving equations, you use what's called inverse operations. Okay? Now, our order of operations are normal operations, as we know them as PEMDAS, right? Parentheses or groups, and then exponents. Multiplication or division left to right, and then addition or subtraction left to right. But when you're solving something, you do it backwards. You do subtraction and then addition. from left to right, and then multiplication or division. Exponents and anything in a group goes very, very last. Okay? Now we're going to be taking it nice and slow so that when we get to the hard problems, you won't be messing up this easy stuff. So all we're going to be doing today are just one-step equations, okay? But before we do that, though, let me show you one that's a little bit trickier, okay? So let's say that, just for the sake of example, let's say we had this, okay? 3 times x plus 2 is 15. This would be, now when you're solving, first of all, before I even get started, when you're solving, you're done when x is all by itself, when it's isolated, okay? So in order to get x by itself, you know we have to get rid of the 2. We also have to get rid of the 3. But the order matters. The order matters big time. And the way that we figure out what to do first is by inverse operations, SADMAP. So we do subtraction and addition first, then multiplication or division, then exponents, and then parentheses. So here, this is adding, which comes way before the 3, which is multiplying. So we do the opposite, okay, so it's an equal sign. So if we take away 2 from one side, we've got to take away 2 from the other. It's like if you and I have the same amount of money, but somebody takes $2 away from you, we no longer have the same amount of money unless somebody also takes $2 away from me. Okay, so 3x equals 13 because 2 minus 2 is 0. It doesn't cancel out, it becomes 0. And 15 minus 2 is 13. Now this is multiplying 3 times x. So the way you take care of that is you just divide both sides by x. 3 times x divided by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 13 over 3. That's your answer. You don't need to make it into a decimal or anything. You don't need to make it into a mixed number. You could say 4 1/3. The only thing you have to be careful of is make sure it is reduced. Okay? Now, how do you know if you're right? In fact, this is part of your work. So we're saying that's the solution, which is going to be the first thing you're going to do on your homework today. But the second step is to check it. The way you check it is you evaluate this equation at your solution. So all you do is you put parentheses around the x, and then you plug that number in. Now, if we did this right, when we simplify this, it's going to equal 15. Now look, whole number times a fraction, you put a 1 over it. Don't just multiply. See if you can reduce. Think. 3 goes into 3 once. So that's 13 plus 2 equals 15, and that's true. So in order to receive credit, you got to show your work, even if it's obvious, and then you got to check. All right, so I hope that makes sense. We'll review exactly what you got to do again here in a little bit, all right? All right, now, the problems we're going to do today are a little simpler. Okay, it's just one-step inverse operations. So we've got a couple things we can worry about here. We could have something like this is really easy. 5 times what is 20? I hope you can figure that out in your head. You better know that's 4. 5 times 4 is 20. Now one thing that helps is if instead of saying 5x, if you say 5 times x. If you speak, even if you're saying in your head, if you say to yourself the operation, it helps you understand which of these is occurring. Alright, so what we got to do is you just have to divide both sides by 5. X equals 4. So that's step 1. Step 2, check it. You see how I got 5 times something equals 20? Plug in your 4, and that's true. 20. 5 times 4 is 20, and that's equal to 20, so that's good. So that one's pretty easy. No problems right there. I also suspect that stuff like this would be no problem. What plus 7 is 14? What plus 7 is 14? Of course, it's 7. The way you would work it out, I think you should know it's x equals 7, but I want you to go ahead and write it out anyway. 7 minus 7 is 0. X plus 0 is just x. 14 minus 7 is just 7. And then to check it, draw your parentheses. It'll come into, this will be really useful later, drawing your parentheses. So plug your 7 in, that's 14 equals 14, that's check. So you did one thing, you did two things, okay? That's what you're going to have to do on your homework today. Now, what if it was something like, and we're solving for A. It doesn't matter what side of the equation the variable is on. Actually, it's just an unknown because it's only got one answer. But it doesn't matter which side of the equation of the equal sign it's on. Here's what I know. I know that since there's no sign in front of this 7, it's a plus, and it's adding with the A. So if I wanted to get rid of it, I would just have to subtract it from both sides. Negative 12 equals A. And then when I check it, and again, you have to check it. See the parentheses, very, very useful. This is 7 plus a negative 12, and that does equal negative 5. So here's step 2, here's step 1, we're done. Okay? Now, what about something like 2 over 7 times n equals, I don't know, 6. This is multiplying with the end. So the way we have to get rid of it is with division. But the way we divide by a fraction is to multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, so that's the big idea. If all you do is write down the numbers I write, then it won't make any sense to you when you review this to study. This is multiplication right here, and the way we have to get rid of this number is to divide. But the way we divide is to multiply by the reciprocal, which is to just flip it over. Do you see how I did that? Now over here, this is 14 over 14. Do you see? And that's just equal to 1, which is what we want. We want 1n. Now on this side, we reduce before we multiply. 2 goes into 6 3 times. 3 times 7, ain't they 1? Okay? So, what I've shown you how to do today is I've shown you how inverse operations work with SADMAP. But you don't have to worry about that too much. That's just more for later. I showed you how we do the inverse operation of multiplication. I've shown you how we do the inverse operation of addition, which I don't think you have a problem with subtraction either. I've also shown you how to handle if you have a fraction. The one thing I haven't shown you, and I'm glad I reviewed this, is because I don't want to forget, is this. First of all, think real quick. What does n have to be so that n divided by 8 is 1? I hope it's 8. It has to be 8, right? Because 8 divided by 8 is 1. Nothing else divided by 8 is 1. The question is, how do I get rid of this? What's it doing? N is being divided by 8. The opposite of division is to multiply. So I would multiply both sides by 8. This is a whole number 8, like this. See? You multiply a whole number by a fraction, you put it over 1. 8 goes into 8 one time. 1 times n is n, 8. And then just to make sure, and I did not do this on the last example, and so I would not get credit for this, n divided by 8 is 1. And I have to check my answer, so I'm going to go ahead and put my parentheses. And my answer was 8. I do agree that that equals 1. So, on your homework, what you're going to do today is you're going to show your work to solve it, even if you can figure it out in your head. And I want you to figure it out in your head too, actually. So, figure it out in your head, then show your work, and then check your work. Both of these things. Now, what would happen if you didn't get something that was true over here? Well, that would mean that you were wrong here. So you need to start over and do it again until you get the right answer, okay? So, your homework today is in the red book, and don't get it until it's time, but the Algebra 1 book, okay? You're going to read through these pages, and you're going to try those examples. You're going to take notes on it. This could take 10 minutes. I don't know. And then you're going to be on your homework. When you do your homework, you're going to do it just like we did in class. You're going to show your work, just like this right here. You're going to show your work, even if you can figure it out in your head, and then you're going to check your answer. Okay? So, again, when class is over, you're going to put all the books back neatly and help each other out. And as a class together, you'll do a good job. All right, good luck.